This exercise is the dumbbell hammer curls. The muscles worked on is going to be your biceps and actually your forearms, both as a primary exercise. Your secondary is going to be probably a little bit of your shoulders, maybe a little bit of your traps, but not too many though. If you stand up and do them, you'll probably engage some core. All right, let's get started. We'll start off with the seated. And this exercise, you'll notice, is just as popular as any bicep exercise, but it's very tough to find people who actually do this exercise 100% correct. So, first thing you want to notice is Dan is sitting on the edge of the seat. Reason why, so this way he can keep his knees together, feet together, so when you curl, he has room right here on the side to go ahead and curl up. Because if not, let's go and spread out your feet, Dan. Do kind of like what a lot of guys do. So if you're going to curl this way, well now you're going to have to come out to the side, and the correct position is curling to the front. So let's go and put our feet back together. Okay. And you will see that the fist, the elbow, and the shoulder has to all be aligned in a straight line. So let's go ahead and show them one time how to do this here. And notice how the elbow is right to the side, and once he gets as high as he can without moving the elbow forward, he comes back down. It actually works on this muscle right here on the side. So if you ever see any guys in the gym with a big old piece of muscle right here, this is one of the exercises that really brings it out. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and stand up, and we'll do this standing up. So the same concept when you're doing the standing up, you want to keep your feet about 6 to 8 inches apart. And the reason why, you want to make sure you have room to go ahead and come down. You always want to make sure, again, that your fists, elbows, and shoulders are perfectly aligned with each other when you're curling. Okay, let's go ahead and get started again. And you'll notice how the elbow doesn't move again. And what happens when the elbow moves is it starts engaging shoulder, and it takes the stress off your biceps. And now let's go ahead and show them how you can do this exercise with both arms. Good. When you do this exercise with both arms, it's a little bit tougher because now you don't have the leverage to go ahead and balance yourself with, and you're using pretty much both of your muscles on both sides. Okay, good. How's that feel? Is it getting a little heavy?
Yeah, that burns.
It burns?
Yeah.
Okay. And guys, you'll see this is actually only 10 pounds. You can go very heavy in these, but you'll notice that when you start doing this correct, you'll not just build more muscle, but you don't even have to use as much weight. So that's good, Dan. And this exercise is actually one of the exercises that when you get really good at the form, you can actually dramatically increase the weight. But you got to make sure you start off light first, so this way you can make sure that, again, your fists, your elbows, and your shoulders are aligned with each other. A lot of times you'll see guys do this, and this is very common. They'll go ahead and either come out to the side, like that, or they'll go ahead and do this, like they're hitting their chest, literally. And what happens is you'll still build some arm muscle that way, no matter if you do it this way or the correct way. It's just that when you do the wrong form, you're not getting 100% of the workout. You may get in about 80%, you may get in about 70%. You may throw your elbows up like this and get in maybe 60%. But if you're going to do a workout right, you might as well do it totally correct and get the whole 100% out of that workout. Because what happens is when you start to cheat, and we'll talk about cheating as one of the more advanced principles, if you work out and you're doing the wrong form and you're only getting, let's say, 70% of the workout, well, when you cheat, that's going to take off another 20%, so now you're only 50% effective. So at the end, you're barely even working on your biceps, it's just working on other parts of your body. So make sure that your form is good and that you're always keeping the fists, the elbows, and the shoulders aligned. Anything you want to add to that, Dan?
Yeah, so I noticed, you know, that's with that like perfect form, it's like, you know, much less weight than most guys are used to, and it's a big kind of a ego lift.
Right.
What would you say to a guy who like has to reduce the weight down to like, you know, like 5 pounds to like really encourage him to use the correct form?
Well, hey, it's no problem. So, because remember, your main goal is not to lift a lot of weight. Your main goal is to go ahead and get the form right. Now, you'll find that there's a thin line between going with super lightweight and really trying to go ahead and really work on your muscle by going a little heavy, but with a little less form. What you want to do is you always want to try to get to the best form that you can, and from there you want to increase the weight pretty much as fast as you can. Because even if you go with let's say 5 pounds, you know, and they're doing 15 reps, a lot of times guys will go ahead and really take it to heart about using perfect form, which is very important, but they end up not stressing the muscle enough. This is one of those exercises to where even if, let's say, you did bad form in the beginning, but just as long as you're aware that your form is not good, you can stick with, let's say, you know, 15 pounds or 20 pounds and just slowly adjust your form as you go, and eventually your form will be 100% correct and you didn't have to decrease, you know, so much in the weight. So, anything else you want to add to that, Dan?
Yeah, and one other thing I noticed is if you have a lot of development right here, it can be like difficult to like bring the elbows in enough. Can you give the guys some tips to like really like get the elbows in so you get that like straight line?
Sure. When you're doing the curl, the hammer curl, if you know, if you're one of those guys to where you have really big lats and you can't put your arms down and you're like this, well, you know, when they curl, they kind of look like this. So if that's really the case, what you do is you actually lean to one side. Because you see how if you're like this and your arm is out. But if you lean to one side, you're able to still get your fist, your elbows, and your shoulders aligned. And that is so important in this exercise, and make sure you get a full contraction. You may not be able to touch your elbows into your side, but you'll find that a lot of times that is for somebody who's, you know, who's really big, and you know, it most of the time doesn't happen. You know, I'm about 200 pounds. And you see that if I wanted to, I can flare my lats out and, you know, walk around the big man syndrome. But if I actually wanted to, I can just tuck in my elbows and still do this exercise, you know, correctly. Another key tip that not a lot of guys don't know about is if you want to go ahead and really make this exercise effective, grab the dumbbell hard with a really tight grip. What that does is it activates the forearm muscles and the back muscles a lot more. So you don't have to actually increase the weight by much. If you just actually hold on to it just a little tighter, you'll see a world of a difference. So that's actually a very good tip that a lot of guys never knew about. I actually helped a lot of people actually develop their arms a lot more without changing anything in what they're doing, same weight and everything. I just told them grab a little tighter, and suddenly you can see the difference in their face, and the rep started going down, and I was like, did you feel a difference? They're like, oh my god. So those are one of those things. It's a really good tip.
Great.
Okay, so that's it for the hammer curls.